Welcome to Hypnosis Health Info. I'm Roger Moore. One of the things that I absolutely love about my job is the interactions, the communications that go on with clients, both current and former clients. And today's no different. I've had some very great sessions here in this office on Bainbridge Island, and I've had a great phone session with a college student down in Miami, and then a number of email communications with clients and former clients. And one email communication that stands out right now above the others is from a woman that actually a little over 2 years ago, using Slender for Life, got to her ideal weight and has done a beautiful job maintaining her ideal weight over the last couple of years. And she's telling a friend and encouraging a friend of hers to set up a consultation with me. And she's telling this friend about her experience with Slender for Life. And she writes that I didn't initially go into my sessions anticipating that I would succeed, but simply that I wanted to see what the experience was like. And that made me think of my own experience of how, when I first did hypnosis for weight loss, I was as a subject in a weight loss demonstration, and even though I'd been using hypnosis for years and was in a training program to be formally certified, I just didn't think it would work for me. I had tried it so many things and it failed so many times, I couldn't believe that even with hypnosis this one would be any different. Well, that was over almost 15 years ago, over 14. And I took off 110 pounds and kept it off ever since, so guess what, it worked. But anyway, this woman goes on to say that she then read a comic strip that just hit home and made her chuckle. And if you know anything about me, I absolutely love my comics, and it's an important part of my day. And unfortunately today I hadn't quite gotten that far yet. I'd had a very busy morning, and this comic strip is one of my absolutely favorite comic strips. It's Mutts. And if you don't know anything about Mutts, there's Earl the dog and Mooch the cat. And in this particular strip, it's March 9th of 2010. Mooch is dressed up as a Sphinx, which Mooch does from time to time. And Earl comes up to the Sphinx and says, "All-knowing Sphinx." And Mooch, in the typical response, says, "Yes." And Earl says, "If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done?" Wow. Think about that. If you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? I know I certainly did this with weight loss. I've done it with other goals in my life of where I just didn't think I would be successful. And so I basically set myself up for failure. I didn't quite try, so that when I failed, I couldn't say, well, it was all about me. I tried to blame it on, well, I didn't try. I tried to make it about something else. Ultimately, yes, it came back to me. I think about how many clients over the years, people I've met, that either chose not to do the program because they just couldn't face one more failure, or they totally set themselves up for failure so that they'd have control over the failure versus really putting their heart and their all into it and risk failing. But here's what I know, is that when you put your heart and your all into something, and you hold that attitude of success, and if you approach it from a place of knowing that you can't fail, that you can only succeed, and when you use a tool such as hypnosis, then odds are that pretty darn good that you're going to have success. And using hypnosis, you can change your thoughts, you can change your emotions, you end up changing your behavior. And you start recognizing things like, oh, wait a minute, I'm stressed, or I'm upset, or I'm bored, or I'm angry, or I'm lonely. I'm not hungry, so this isn't about food, so I don't need to eat it. Or yes, I am truly, legitimately hungry. Well, great. Then sit down and have some vegetables, have some whole grains, have some fruit, but stop eating when your appetite says enough, no more. You don't have to binge eat, you don't have to eat the whole plate full of food and go back for seconds or thirds. About 2 fists is all you really need. Enjoy the amount of food. It should taste good. It should be totally enjoyable. Eat it slowly. Eat it consciously. Stop eating when your appetite says enough, no more. And get out and exercise. Move your body. You know, get out from behind the steering wheel of the car, the computer, the TV. Get out and move. Be active. And again, with hypnosis, you can do that. You can set yourself up for success. It's kind of like buying so many people will buy a gym membership and then never show up. And, well, the gym didn't work. Knowing that, well, they never really tried. They bought the membership, but they didn't go in there and fail. Therefore, they can't blame themselves. They can just say, well, the gym didn't work. Well, in order for it to work, you got to show up and you got to do the work. And again, if you show up at the gym and you start using some piece of cardio equipment, you start pumping some irons, or you're using the machine or some of the bands, or participating in some of the classes, odds are you're going to have success. So it's really all about the choices and the decisions you make. And one of the great things about hypnosis and self-hypnosis is you can put it to work changing your thoughts, changing your emotions, changing your behaviors, and creating success in your life. So if you try to fail and succeed, which have you done? I would encourage you, let go of trying and just set yourself out on a course, a path of success. Just go succeed. I'm Roger Moore, and this is Hypnosis Health Info.